Hi, I'm Jason Schultz. I'm sure we all face obstacles, large and small, in our everyday lives. Well, coming up, we'll introduce you to some people handling unusual challenges in the world of agriculture. Challenges that affect food production and sometimes the price you pay at the supermarket. We'll take you to Alabama, where one farmer credits a devastating accident for his business success. We'll set sail with some fishermen in New England. Hauling in a harvest from the Atlantic means facing both the elements and a changing market for seafood. Food safety is important to all of us. Come along to Florida, where state inspectors battle bugs and bacteria in an effort to head off problems for consumers. Then, farmers and ranchers are under attack. The enemy? Feral hogs can destroy crops and threaten livestock. And the battle has just begun. It's all coming up on America's Heartland.
America's Heartland is made possible by CropLife America, representing the companies whose modern farming innovations help America's farmers provide nutritious food for communities around the globe. The Fund for Agriculture Education, a fund created by KBIE to support America's Heartland programming. Contributors include the following.
You can see it in the eyes of every woman and man in America's heartland, living close to the land. There's a love for the country and a pride in the brand. In America's heartland, living close to the land.
Turn on any newscast these days and you'll find stories about the economic challenges being faced by businesses. And those financial worries impact production and ultimately affect what we pay for goods and services. And that's true for food production as well. If you're shocked by the price you pay for gasoline, well, think about the sticker shock when your tractor is using 11 gallons per hour when you're planting a field of crops. Add in seed prices, animal feed, fertilizer, pesticides, even transportation, and you start to see the financial challenges in getting a crop or a livestock into the field and then through processing to those cornflakes or breakfast sausages. But financial challenges are only part of the story for people making their living in agriculture. Let's start with a personal story of a man whose life took a dramatic turn after he faced a serious injury. Our Rob Stewart takes us to Alabama.
Spring and summer are in full bloom at Wright's Nursery and Greenhouse, one of Alabama's most successful grower operations. Wright's is a production powerhouse, turning out more than 4 million plants a year. Many are grown in the farm's 92,000 square foot greenhouse. But this farm's success story comes in large part from owner David Wright's ability to turn tragedy into triumph. Take a close look. You may think something is missing here, but David disagrees.
I attribute me having this one arm to everything that we have today, because that was the beginning.
In 1966, David lost his right arm in a farm machinery accident. That's when his dad decided that some changes on the farm might create a new future for his son.
My daddy decided to build a greenhouse and to sort of give me something to do.
4 generations are at work on the Wright family farm, including David's mother, who has a special title herself.
Just anything comes to hand. I have been president of the company. I'm the janitor now, the babysitter, and work up here on this. Or whatever comes to hand, I do.
But even with everyone pitching in, profitability comes from knowing your products and your market. David Wright III handles sales. Turning a profit these days means turning out crops faster than in the past. A new transplanter speeds up the process.
Our product has a 3-week window of opportunity. In order to make a profit, you need to put another crop in as soon as it gets out. The The transplanter that we have up there has the capacity to set out more each day than we actually need. So we take a flat out today, another one is in its place tomorrow.
The Wrights also grow 1,400 acres of timber, harvesting some of the trees each year.
You think we need to go up and water that flat? We have to water it before we put it on the truck, right? I just love the people. I love the plants. I just love everything about this industry and this business.
The Wrights consider their operation a farm-to-family business, delivering something from the earth to those who appreciate it.
People need to have plants in their yard, and they need to do things that are green. I think environmentally it's a wonderful thing.
At 14, I didn't think having one arm was too good. But by the time I was 20 years old, I realized that that's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Alabama is one of the country's largest poultry producers, and not only chicken. Alabama has a thriving quail industry. The word Alabama means tribal town in the Native American language of the Creek tribe. And let's be clear about this. Every time you turn on your windshield wipers, you can thank Alabama native Mary Anderson. She patented windshield wipers in 1903.
Let's take a look at a very different kind of challenge. We're heading for the coastal fisheries of New England and the boats that work the waters off Gloucester, Massachusetts. Our Sarah Gardner says the food production challenges there deal not only with the availability of fish, but a changing market for the product on shore. Dealing with those variables has prompted a community effort.
You know, it's a daily grind. You put your feet on the floor every morning, hit the ground running, and you go out and you try to go fishing.
Daniel Dunbar figures he's been catching fish since he was 5 years old. He's the latest in a long line of Gloucester fishermen who've harvested the ocean's bounty for centuries. Daniel loves his work, but admits it's an unpredictable profession.
You never know when the fish will show up. Every day is different, every year is different, every month is different. You know, certain months are better than other months, but not necessarily. I pay my daughter's tuitions with this stuff, you know what I mean? College isn't cheap, mortgages aren't cheap. This boat pays for certain things. And if this boat disappears, now I gotta figure out how to replace those payments.
Dating back to the early 1600s, Gloucester is one of the oldest towns in New England. Fishing has been its lifeblood since the 18th century. It was once the largest fishing port in America. But for countless generations of fishermen, the sea has been both generous and unforgiving. This statue and wall of remembrance honors more than 5,000 souls lost to the restless North Atlantic. Fishermen here face stiff competition from overseas suppliers. Marine educator Nancy Sullivan says that's caused a steady decline in the number of Gloucester fishermen.
We had some 6,000 fishermen, I think, in the 1800s here in Gloucester, and now there's just a few hundred.
But now there's an effort underway to keep fishermen in business and preserve this way of life. The Northwest Atlantic Marine Alliance was created to help small fishing communities from Maine to North Carolina. Executive Director Niaz Dory says they help each town create a community-supported fishery, with local residents signing up to receive fresh fish weekly, directly from the source, at a fair and stable price.
Our work really involves empowering the community-based fishermen. So in this political arena where they're forced to either scale up or sell out, they can choose a third option, which is to actually fit within the right scale and operate at a small scale and feed their local communities and make a living that they can actually exist on.
Each day, the fresh catch is brought to markets like Turner Seafoods. That's where community-supported fishery members, like Joanne Hart, stop by to pick up their order.
The quality's better because it's so very, very fresh, and it's just coming right off the water here in Gloucester and not Asia or South America.
I think that the more people that participate, the more money the fishermen get.
Morning, Brenda.
Hi.
How are you? Good.
Turner Seafoods owner Jim Turner says the program actually keeps money circulating within the town and helps keep his retail business healthy.
The captains, they're getting paid top dollar for their fish, and we're busy because we're able to keep our guys working and filleting, and so it is. It's a win-win for everybody.
The community-supported fishery concept is modeled after the community-supported agriculture programs that began in the U.S. in the 1980s. Like the model for farmers, it provides a steady, reliable price, income, and customer base for the fishermen's catch.
We get together and the organization pools the money and pays the fishermen to catch our fish for the table. Instead of being told what they're going to get for their fish, they know what they're going to get. So it's good for stability for everybody.
Stability for the fishermen, for the community, and, say these folks, for the marine environment. A steady market means fishermen can concentrate on a quality catch, not quantity.
Well, you're doing better. Yeah, you're doing better. You're not depleting. You're not catching fish in such great numbers.
People are going to talk about fresh seafood. There's no question about it. I think it's very important to these boats because it's anything like that where they're trying to promote fresh fish for the communities, which is what it's really all about.
So if you care about the health of the ocean, you should care about who catches the fish that you want to eat.
The ocean is home to some of the longest living creatures on Earth. Bowhead whales can live more than 150 years. Koi fish have been known to live more than 2 centuries. And one variety of orange roughy has been dated to be 156 years old.
We've told you in the past about the growing concern surrounding food safety. Salmonella and E. coli outbreaks make headlines because of illness and sometimes death. Those are just 2 of the challenges facing state and federal officials working to make sure that crops and food production animals are protected and that farmers and ranchers not face devastating losses. Let's take a look at one program in Florida that deals with bugs and bacteria. Before it's ever meat on your dinner plate, that chicken, beef, turkey, or pork starts here. And just like us humans, animals are susceptible to illness and disease. Most can be treated if caught early enough by a veterinarian, but not always. And when that happens, animals end up at labs like this one near Orlando, Florida. This is the Bronson Animal Disease Diagnostic Lab. Today the team is doing a necropsy on a chicken to find out what killed it. One of the many things that happen here, all with the goal of protecting animal agriculture and ultimately our food supply. Agriculture has a $100 billion impact on Florida each year. It's the state's second largest economic driver after tourism.
So it's a very big part of our mission to make sure that those animals are disease-free, they're wholesome. If they go into the food chain, the horses are healthy.
And there are certainly a lot of things out there that attack livestock, from chickens to horses to pigs, viruses, bacteria, you name it. Oh, not to mention parasites like this one. This is a Parascaris worm. It goes after horses, and it is not good.
And some of these diseases could be devastating to the industry. So that's one of our missions in animal industry, is to protect the producers in Florida agriculture from these devastating type diseases.
So when a dead animal, big or small, is brought to the lab, the necropsy is critical.
So determining the cause of death can be very important to rule in and out whether what the cause of death was. Was this intentionally caused? Was this an accidental thing, feed contamination? Or is it an infectious disease that may need some concentrated control efforts?
The lab is just part of the protection profile for Florida agriculture. You'll find state field inspectors and veterinarians on location at horse farms, livestock markets, and even tourist attractions. Can you imagine what an animal disease outbreak would be like? It'd be pretty scary.
Depending on what that outbreak is, yes. And it can be quite expensive to the state. They've estimated that if you had a 21-day lapse of time for a disease such as foot and mouth, that there could be up to $130 billion impact.
Our inspectors inspect cattle at 10 cattle markets every week. They go to over 45 state and county fairs annually. So we're constantly looking for animal disease.
Modern animal production methods can mean higher risk of diseases quickly impacting tens of thousands of animals on just one farm. Preventing disease from taking hold is a key piece of the puzzle when protecting animal agriculture. In Florida, that means testing on horses that get sold for racing.
This is blood samples from equines, from horses that are from around the state of Florida, sometimes from other states. This testing is for equine infectious anemia, which is a regulatory disease.
How many horses around the state are getting tested for this?
Well, as an example for equine infectious anemia, the program that we have in Florida that's been very successful, we used to have many more positive horses. It's very, very rare to get one now.
And when there is an outbreak of a particularly infectious disease in a poultry barn, dairy farm, or anywhere in the livestock arena, this team must spring into action.
We have to have a rapid response to contain and quarantine the disease. If we are not able to do that, that disease will spread rapidly in the matter of days.
A protection profile that stretches from the field to the lab with the goal of keeping our food supply safe.
Whether it's on your dinner table or on your plant stand, it's a good bet that something in your house is grown or raised in Florida. Farmers and ranchers in the Sunshine State supply not only beef, pork, and lamb, they also raise more than 250 different crops. And Florida is one of the leading states in the nation for potted plants and hanging baskets.
Let's move from the laboratory to the field now, and a story that deals with agricultural challenges that you may have never even heard about. Rob Stewart takes us to Louisiana, where the challenge for farmers and ranchers comes in the form of large feral hogs.
Two more for the barrel.
Landowner Steve Celestine and state wildlife biologist Michael Perot are checking feral hog traps on Steve's Louisiana property. This time, the traps have captured 2 of the hogs, the latest in a long line of this destructive animal.
We caught close to 3,000 hogs in about a 2.5-year period, and I think we have stopped counting at 3,000, and we've probably caught another 700 or 800 since then.
Feral hogs are a growing problem facing farmers and ranchers in many parts of the country. Generally, once limited to the south and southeast, they can now be found in more than 36 states, from California to Florida.
They're rooting up the crops. They actually will dig big holes in the ground and lay out in the crops at night, and it just tears up the equipment. We trap as much as we can, but there's no way to stop them from coming in the field.
Many states list feral hogs as predator animals. Louisiana has tens of thousands of the hogs. The state's neighbor, Texas, is home to an estimated 2 million.
I can sit out here and watch this field tonight and try to kill hogs that are trying to eat our corn, but we have 900 acres of corn. So I can only watch 4 or 5 acres a night. One sow becomes reproductively active when she's 7 or 8 months old, and she can have a litter of 6 every time she has a litter. So in 5 years, one sow could have 1,000 descendants.
Louisiana officials say poison is not an option because of the dangers posed to other wildlife. The state allows landowners to hunt the animals on their own property, even at night, when the feral hogs are most active.
Now we can hunt them at night along with coyotes and beaver and nutria and armadillo with basically any weapon you want. As long as you contact your sheriff's department prior to doing so.
Louisiana and other states are anxious to control the hog population, since the animals can spread disease and have been implicated in attacks on livestock. But trapping them is a challenge.
When we first started, it was nothing to catch, 200 and 300 pounders common all the time. And now when we catch them, they also know they can jump out the trap.
The hogs that are caught are destroyed. Even then, disposing of the dead hogs brings its own problems.
We don't have any way to get rid of them anymore. When we kill them, we throw them in the lake or in the river, and the alligators come. So now we got alligator problems all over the place.
Some wildlife experts think that total eradication is no longer possible. The numbers are just too great.
Eradication obviously would be a dream, but I think all we can really do now is just do the best we can in managing our the pig population's pretty much at where they're at, and not let them expand anymore.
They tear up equipment, they tear up the roads, they tear up everything. But after a while, it just drives you crazy trying to eliminate them. You can't.
Let's focus on another threat to agriculture that can be found in the field. Like feral hogs, this is a growing threat in many rural communities across the southern tier of states. And while these pests are much smaller than hogs, they bring their own set of problems to farms and ranches. Their frenzy is deceiving. The efficiency and order of the fire ant colony is a force of nature, and it's one that's taking over Texas one mound at a time. Their spread is why University of Texas researcher Rob Plows is visiting this ranch with shovel in hand. Plows is trying to slow down their spread and decrease the fire ant population. Since arriving in the southeastern United States in the 1930s from Argentina, the fire ants have spread throughout the South and Southwest. And in Texas, they can be found across hundreds of millions of acres. They've got a mean bite and attack in numbers. But besides that, there is another toll taken. Their mounds damage farm equipment, reduce crop harvests, and the ants can injure or kill small livestock through their fierce bites.
Right now, the estimate is as high as $1 billion a year of economic loss and cost to the Texas economy, and about $8 billion through the whole United States.
Charles Fritch's family has been ranching in Texas for 150 years, and for the past 30, the fire ant problem has been getting serious.
I would say that we really started having the infestations that were just starting in probably the 70s, and since then they just keeps multiplying because we haven't had any way to control them. It seems like they're more active right after you've had a stretch of wet weather.
Correct.
Now Fritch and other landowners hope they're getting closer to actually controlling the critters, thanks to the work of Rob Plows and the team of researchers at the Brackenridge Lab at the University of Texas in Austin. In this lab, bucketfuls of ant colonies come in from around the state. They've discovered that the best way of targeting the fire ants so far is by using the ants' worst enemy. This tiny phorid fly is barely visible to the naked eye, but it's a natural enemy to the fire ant. The fly actually attacks the ant by laying its egg inside the ant's head, killing the ant.
You could almost classify it as a zombie ant at that point, where it doesn't have a functioning brain, but it still has a functioning body, and the head has been taken over by the fly.
And as you can see in this lab setting, just flying overhead, the flies drive the ants crazy, and that means they can't get food or spread their colony. When the fire ant arrived on U.S. soil back in the 30s, its natural enemies stayed behind, so the ant was free to spread for decades without worrying about predators. That was until researchers discovered the fly and brought it to the United States. Now Plows and other researchers take ant colonies from the field back to the lab, where they unleash the flies to lay their eggs. And then within days, they bring those colonies back to the field to let those flies attack the rest of the ants.
So within a couple of weeks, several thousand of these ants will have died. The flies that are inside will come out of their head.
That's right.
And start attacking other ants.
Yes, so we'll have a pulse of flies coming into the environment probably about 2 to 3 weeks from now. And in order to get an establishment going in this area, what we are going to do is a multiple wave of releases, so that we have these pulses of emerging flies supported by the next one a week later and another week later, so that we get a continuous overlapping fly population established.
Admittedly, it's too early to tell exactly what impact this effort will have on the overwhelming fire ant problem here, but researchers are hopeful that in time they'll start winning the war against these fiery pests. Charles Fritch is hopeful too.
We're not going to completely get rid of it, but we're trying to control it, trying to get it where we can live with it.
We've gone from fishing to feral hogs on this show. It's quite a variety. Hey, just a reminder that if there's a story you want to see again or just want more information about American agriculture, our website is a great place to check out. Just log on to americasheartland.org. And don't forget that you can link to the show through many of your favorite social media sites as well. That's going to do it for us. We're always glad that you could join us as we share such interesting people and places with you on America's Heartland.
You can purchase a DVD or Blu-ray copy of this program. Here's the cost. To order, just visit us online or call 888-814-3923.
You can see it in the eyes of every woman and man in America's heartland, living close to the land. There's a love for the country and a pride in the brand in America's heartland, living close to the land.
America's Heartland is made possible by CropLife America, representing the companies whose modern farming innovations help America's farmers provide nutritious food for communities around the globe. The Fund for Agriculture Education, a fund created by KBIE to support America's Heartland programming. Contributors include the following: